The Democratic-led U.S. House of Representatives approved a $430 billion bill on Friday that is seen as the biggest climate package in U.S. history, delivering a major legislative victory for President Joe Biden ahead of the November 8 midterm elections.
On this vote, the yeas are 220, the nays are 207. The motion is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
The legislation to fight climate change and lower prescription drug prices aims to cut domestic greenhouse gas emissions. It will also allow Medicare to negotiate lower drug prices for the elderly and ensure that corporations and the wealthy pay the tax they owe. Democrats say it will help combat inflation by reducing the federal deficit.
Hail to the chief, to Joe Biden. His leadership, his vision, his inspiration made today possible. Thank you, Mr. President. This is something very special for the American people. From the kitchen table to the Arctic Circle, families are protected, are affected. Whether it's the cost of prescription drugs, lowering the cost of prescription drugs at long last. How long we have waited for this day to come, how long we have fought for it. This is like historic because every member in the House and every member in the Senate, Democratic member in the House, Democratic member in the Senate voted for this legislation. To lower prescription drug costs, to lower health care costs, to reduce the deficit and paid for, to lower inflation, to save the planet. And every single Republican in the House and in the Senate voted against it. How could they vote against lowering prescription drug costs? How could they vote against helping families with their health care costs? How can they vote against the planet?
The House voted 220 to 207 along party lines to pass the measure titled the Inflation Reduction Act and send it on to Biden to sign into law. The Senate approved the legislation on Sunday after a marathon 27-hour session.
Madam Speaker, this is an American bill. Apple pie, mom, and baseball. Red, white, and blue. This is for the exhausted majority of the people in this country. Democrats, Republicans, independents versus the extremists. If you think that this town's been spending too much money, we need to reduce the deficit, we do that by hundreds of billions of dollars. If you think seniors are taking it on the chin, we help them with prescription drugs and $35 insulin payments. If you think we need to increase production of natural gas, that's in this bill to create jobs here, lower costs here, and export to Europe and the rest of the world to knock Putin's knees out from under him. And the most exciting thing in this bill is we double down on finally having an industrial policy in this country to outcompete China. We are going to build things. On top of the infrastructure bill and the CHIPS Act, we're going to build electric vehicles, electric cars, electric tractors, batteries, solar, wind. We are going to rebuild the middle class. And while the other side wants to defund the
time
FBI,
has expired.
We want to fund our kids' future here in the United States.
Democrats hope the legislation will help them at the polls in November, when voters decide the balance of power in Congress ahead of the 2024 presidential election. Republicans are favored to win a majority in the House and could also take control of the Senate. Biden plans to travel across the country to tout the bill, along with a series of other legislative victories at a time when many voters have soared on him amid soaring inflation. About half of Americans support the climate and drug pricing legislation, including 69% of Democrats and 34% of Republicans, according to a poll conducted on August 3 and 4. Business groups have had a mixed reaction to the legislation, which offers the prospect of higher tax bills for some companies, while at the same time giving protections to the fossil fuel industry. Republicans oppose the legislation, warning it will kill jobs by raising corporate tax bills, further fuel inflation with government spending, and inhibit the development of new drugs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is the bill, 728 pages we got from the Senate this week. Has anybody read it? Come on. That's over $1 billion average per page. That ain't gold, that's fool's gold. Look, more IRS agents, as Art Laffer said years ago, that's not going to increase the amount of revenue to the government. And in fact, when you say it's going after the ultra-rich, what happens is the ultra-rich are the only ones that can avoid paying these taxes. They can hire attorneys, accountants, they can move, change their business structure. It comes right back to the middle class every time. These same policies are the reasons that the average black household in the 8 years of Obama lost 30% of their net worth. So we keep hearing from the other side, there's this runaway inflation and this ugly bill is going to stop it. Well, our president says it's 0% inflation. Somebody's lying. We'll find out who.
The bill has been more than 18 months in making. It represents a final version of Biden's original sweeping Build Back Better plan, which had to be whittled down in the face of opposition from Republicans and key legislators from his own party. The bill's main revenue source is a 15% corporate minimum tax aimed at stopping large profitable companies from gaining the Internal Revenue Service Code to slash their tax bills to zero.